Orania is a privately owned town in South Africa's Northern Cape province. It was founded in 1991 by a group of Afrikaners, just 1 year after Nelson Mandela was released from prison and 3 years before the country's first democratic elections. At the time, white South Africans were coming to terms with a new reality, one where Black South Africans would finally have political power. For some, that was seen as a threat to their way of life. So instead of integrating into a democratic South Africa, they did the opposite. Orania was spearheaded by Karel Bischoff, who was the son-in-law of Hendrik Verwoerd, the so-called architect of apartheid. They bought land with the goal of building an independent, white-only homeland where Afrikaners would rule themselves. But here's where it gets even darker. The land that they bought wasn't empty. There were about 500 Black and mixed-race people already living there. And how did they handle that? They forced them out in one of the last major apartheid-era evictions. Reports say that they used beatings, dogs, and pistol whippings, just like the brutal eviction scenes in Sarafina. Now, if you haven't seen that movie, you must. But fast forward 30 plus years, and Orania is thriving. Population is over 3,000 and it's growing. The government, they run their own local administration. They have their own money, their own currency. It's called an aura. Education, they've got their own college. And as far as economy, you guessed it, only white Afrikaners can work there. It's essentially a mini nation inside South Africa, operating on its own rules and terms. So how do you become a resident of this town? Well, first, you have to be white, and that is non-negotiable. Then you have to buy shares in a town and pass a strict vetting process that includes, number 1, speaking Afrikaans fluently, 2, pledging loyalty to Afrikaner culture, 3, a commitment to hiring only white Afrikaners, 4, conservative Christian values. For example, married couples can't live together in this town. Now, if you're thinking, how the heck is this even possible? Well, great question, because segregation is illegal under South African law. But somehow this is still happening. Well, here's the loophole. Cultural preservation is not.